What if Queen Elizabeth's private diary held the answers to the most haunting questions about Princess Diana's life and death? Could it reveal untold truths about the struggles Diana faced, the tension within the royal family, and the night that changed everything? As we uncover this gripping story, we'll delve into Diana's complex relationship with the Queen, the events that led to her tragic end, and the legacy that reshaped the monarchy. What secrets might the Queen's reflections reveal about Diana's rise and fall? Could they provide clarity on the conspiracies that refuse to fade? And how has Diana's enduring legacy influenced the modern royal family? Let's unravel the mystery. The world was abuzz with excitement when Lady Diana Spencer, a shy yet radiant 19-year-old, became engaged to Prince Charles in February 1981. To the public, it seemed like a fairy tale come true. A young woman of aristocratic lineage was poised to marry the heir to the British throne, and the nation was captivated by her charm and grace. Photographs of Diana's shy smile and striking sapphire engagement ring dominated headlines, cementing her as a figure of fascination long before she officially became a royal. Behind the scenes, however, the atmosphere was more complex. Diana's entry into the royal family marked the beginning of a life governed by centuries-old traditions and rigid expectations. She was stepping into a world that required absolute conformity, a reality she couldn't fully grasp at the time. While Queen Elizabeth, known for her reserved and dutiful nature, publicly expressed her approval of the match, the private dynamics within the palace told a different story. The Queen's habit of keeping a daily diary has been well documented over the years, though the contents of these writings remain strictly private. If she reflected on Diana's engagement and the whirlwind media frenzy that followed, one might imagine her recording cautious observations about the young woman who was about to join the royal fold. Speculatively, she may have noted Diana's innocence and warmth, traits that endeared her to the public, but hinted at potential challenges in adapting to the structured life of the monarchy. The grand wedding on July 29, 1981, was a spectacle like no other. Millions around the globe tuned in to witness Diana's walk down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral, her elaborate gown and cascading train symbolizing a union steeped in tradition. To the world, it was the pinnacle of romance and regal splendor. Yet, for Diana, the day was tinged with unease. She would later admit that her wedding felt more like a public performance than a personal celebration. The magnitude of her new reality, one that demanded absolute perfection and unwavering composure, had begun to set in. As Diana navigated her early months as the Princess of Wales, the cracks in her fairy tale began to show. Publicly, she dazzled at royal engagements, her natural charisma drawing adoration from crowds everywhere she went. However, within the palace, Diana struggled to adapt to the unyielding protocols that governed royal life. The royal family's preference for stoicism and formality clashed with her emotional openness, creating an unspoken tension that would only grow with time. It's tempting to imagine what the Queen might have recorded during this period. If her diary reflected her private thoughts, it might have contained musings on the striking contrast between Diana's meteoric rise in public favor and her visible discomfort within the royal institution. While no evidence of such writings exists, historical accounts suggest that the Queen viewed Diana's popularity with a mixture of admiration and concern. Diana's ability to connect so effortlessly with the public was both a blessing and a challenge, a quality that often set her apart from the rest of the royal family. Adding to the complexity was Diana's relationship with Charles. From the outset, their marriage appeared to lack the deep emotional bond one might expect in such a celebrated union. Charles, ever focused on duty and tradition, struggled to understand Diana's emotional needs. Diana, in turn, felt isolated and unsupported, confiding to friends that her new life was far lonelier than she had anticipated. While these issues were hidden from public view at the time, they became painfully clear in later years. Diana's mental health struggles, which she candidly revealed in interviews long after the fact, began to surface during these early years. She experienced bouts of anxiety and depression, exacerbated by the intense scrutiny of the press and the pressures of her role. The Queen, who had long been accustomed to maintaining a stoic exterior, may have observed these struggles with concern. though the royal family's traditional reluctance to address personal issues likely limited any intervention. Speculatively, the Queen might have reflected on Diana's fragility in her private writings, recognizing the strain that such an overwhelming role had placed on someone so young. Despite her challenges, Diana's devotion to her public duties remained steadfast. She quickly became a global icon, her every outfit and gesture dissected by the media. Crowds gathered in droves to catch a glimpse of the princess whose warmth seemed to transcend the barriers of royalty. Yet as Diana's public star rose, her private world grew increasingly fraught. The unrelenting spotlight only deepened her sense of isolation, leaving her torn between the image she was expected to project and the struggles she faced behind closed doors. The arrival of Prince William in 1982 brought a moment of joy for Diana, offering her a sense of purpose amidst the turbulence. Her maternal instincts were evident from the start, and she took an active role in raising her son, breaking from royal tradition in the process. Diana's hands-on approach to motherhood was celebrated by the public and marked a departure from the more formal parenting style historically associated with the monarchy. If the Queen recorded her thoughts on this in her diary, it's plausible she might have admired Diana's commitment as a mother while recognizing the ways in which it diverged from royal norms. As the 1980s progressed, the strain between Diana and the royal family became increasingly difficult to conceal. Her emotional openness, which endeared her to the public, was at odds with the family's stoic traditions. Meanwhile, her relationship with Charles grew colder, the distance between them becoming more apparent even in public settings. Speculatively, the Queen may have noted these developments with a mixture of concern and pragmatism, understanding the potential implications for the monarchy's image. The stage was being set for a series of conflicts that would redefine Diana's role within the royal family, and ultimately, her legacy. The glow of Diana's early years as a princess began to dim as the realities of her life within the royal family set in. By the mid-1980s, it was becoming clear that the fairy tale image was cracking under the weight of internal tensions and public scrutiny. The charm that had initially captivated the world began to reveal a more complicated story, one filled with personal struggles, growing resentment, and a widening gulf between Diana and the institution she had married into. At the heart of these struggles was Diana's relationship with Charles. What had begun as a union celebrated across the globe quickly unraveled as the emotional distance between the couple became impossible to ignore. Historical accounts confirm that Charles's ongoing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles deeply hurt Diana, leaving her feeling betrayed and unworthy. In later interviews, Diana spoke candidly about the strain this caused, famously remarking, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This vulnerability, once hidden from public view, became a defining aspect of Diana's story. While the monarchy maintained its outward appearance of decorum, behind closed doors, the tensions were palpable. Diana confided in close friends and trusted advisors, expressing her frustration at feeling unsupported and misunderstood. It's tempting to imagine how Queen Elizabeth might have perceived this growing discord. If her private diaries contained reflections on this period, they might reveal a monarch torn between her responsibilities to the institution and her role as a mother-in-law. Speculatively, the Queen may have noted the difficulty of navigating a situation where personal relationships clashed with the needs of the monarchy. Diana's struggles with mental health also became increasingly pronounced during this time. She later revealed her battle with bulimia, a condition that was both a symptom and a coping mechanism for the immense pressure she faced. The unrelenting attention of the press, coupled with the emotional turmoil within her marriage, created a perfect storm that left Diana feeling trapped. Her candor about these struggles, shared in interviews and biographies, challenged the long-held silence surrounding mental health within the royal family. It's plausible to speculate that Queen Elizabeth observed Diana's pain with concern, though the royal family's traditional stoicism may have limited any direct intervention. The monarchy, rooted in a culture of discretion, often avoided addressing personal issues publicly or even privately. If the Queen did record her thoughts on Diana's vulnerability, one might imagine her reflecting on the challenges of balancing empathy with the necessity of upholding the monarchy's image. Despite her personal struggles, Diana's public role continued to flourish. Her natural warmth and ability to connect with people set her apart, earning her the adoration of millions. At royal engagements, she often broke with protocol to interact directly with the public, shaking hands, exchanging kind words, and offering genuine smiles. These gestures, while seemingly small, had a profound impact, humanizing a royal family often perceived as distant and detached. Diana's relationship with her children also became a central focus during this period. The birth of Prince Harry in 1984 added to her sense of purpose, and she took great care to raise both William and Harry with a sense of normalcy. Diana's hands-on approach to motherhood was a departure from traditional royal parenting and became one of the defining aspects of her legacy. She frequently took her sons on outings to amusement parks and fast food restaurants, exposing them to a world far removed from the formality of palace life. This approach, while celebrated by the public, may have been viewed with mixed feelings within the royal household. Hypothetically, the Queen might have reflected on Diana's parenting style with a mix of admiration and concern, recognizing its departure from established norms. By the late 1980s, the strain within Diana's marriage became impossible to conceal. Public appearances, once characterized by smiles and shared glances, grew noticeably colder. The media, ever vigilant for signs of discord, began to speculate on the state of the royal couple's relationship. Behind the scenes, the situation was even more dire. Charles and Diana were leading largely separate lives, their differences irreconcilable. Diana, feeling increasingly isolated, began to assert her independence in ways that sometimes clashed with the expectations placed upon her. If Queen Elizabeth observed these developments in her private writings, it's conceivable she might have expressed concern about the implications for the monarchy. The breakdown of such a high-profile marriage posed a significant risk to the royal family's carefully maintained image, a fact that likely weighed heavily on the Queen's mind. Speculatively, she may have noted the challenge of balancing the need for privacy with the inevitability of public scrutiny. The announcement of Charles and Diana's separation in 1992 marked a watershed moment. For Diana, it represented both a loss and an opportunity, a chance to reclaim her identity while navigating the challenges of life outside the palace. For the monarchy, it was a moment of reckoning, forcing the institution to confront the evolving expectations of a modern public. While the Queen's personal feelings about this period remain unknown, her public response emphasized the importance of stability and continuity, reflecting her unwavering commitment to duty. Diana's post-separation life was characterized by both triumph and turmoil. On one hand, she began to focus more intently on her humanitarian work, championing causes such as AIDS awareness and the campaign to ban landmines. On the other, she faced an intensified level of media scrutiny that often bordered on invasive. Paparazzi followed her every move, turning her private moments into public spectacles. Diana, who had once been shy and reserved, learned to navigate this new reality with a mixture of grace and determination. As her independence grew, so too did her influence. Diana's ability to connect with people, to speak openly about her struggles, and to advocate for meaningful causes elevated her to a status that transcended the royal family. Yet this growing independence also came with its own challenges. The royal family, accustomed to a more reserved and collective approach, may have viewed Diana's newfound prominence with a mix of respect and unease. Speculatively, Queen Elizabeth might have reflected on these developments with an understanding of their complexities, recognizing both the opportunities and risks they presented. As Diana's journey continued, the stage was being set for a series of events that would ultimately reshape her legacy and leave an indelible mark on the royal family. The public's love for Diana only deepened as she became a symbol of compassion and resilience, a legacy that would endure far beyond her time. The announcement of Diana's separation from Charles was a turning point not only for her life, but also for the royal family. It signaled the end of a marriage that had long ceased to resemble the fairy tale so carefully curated for public consumption. For Diana, the separation was both a relief and a challenge, a chance to redefine her identity outside the constraints of the royal institution while contending with a level of media attention that bordered on relentless. In the years following her separation, Diana began to carve out a new role for herself, one that transcended the boundaries of royalty. Her humanitarian work became the cornerstone of this transformation, showcasing her empathy and determination to make a meaningful impact. She threw herself into causes that resonated deeply with her, often choosing those that were stigmatized or overlooked. AIDS awareness, for example, was a cause that Diana championed with unparalleled dedication. At a time when fear and misinformation surrounded the disease, Diana's decision to publicly shake hands with an AIDS patient sent a powerful message of compassion and understanding. The image of that moment became iconic, cementing her reputation as a figure of genuine humanity. Her advocacy extended beyond AIDS awareness to global issues like the campaign to ban landmines. In 1997, Diana famously walked through a cleared minefield in Angola, wearing protective gear and highlighting the devastating impact of landmines on communities. The images of her visit were broadcast worldwide, drawing attention to a cause that had long been underrepresented. For Diana, these efforts were more than just gestures. They were expressions of her belief in the power of connection and the importance of using her platform for good. While the public lauded Diana's humanitarian efforts, her growing independence was met with mixed reactions within the royal family. Diana's approach, characterized by its hands-on nature and emotional authenticity, often clashed with the traditional methods favored by the monarchy. Hypothetically, if Queen Elizabeth had reflected on these developments in her diary, she might have expressed a combination of admiration for Diana's work and concern about how her methods deviated from royal norms. Such reflections, if they existed, would likely have highlighted the tension between the Queen's commitment to preserving tradition and Diana's determination to redefine her role. Diana's increasing candor during this period further complicated her relationship with the royal family. Her 1995 interview with the BBC's Panorama was a watershed moment, marking the first time a senior royal had spoken so openly about personal struggles and institutional challenges. In the interview, Diana not only addressed the breakdown of her marriage, but also spoke candidly about her battles with bulimia and feelings of isolation. Her admission that she felt unsupported by the royal family sent shockwaves through the institution and the public alike. The fallout from the interview was immediate. While many sympathized with Diana's vulnerability, others viewed her revelations as a breach of royal protocol. Speculatively, the Queen may have been deeply troubled by the implications of Diana's words, recognizing the potential damage to the monarchy's carefully maintained image. If her diary contained reflections on this moment, it might have conveyed a sense of both disappointment and an acknowledgement of the complexities Diana faced. This was a moment of reckoning for the royal family, forcing them to confront the changing dynamics of public expectations and the realities of individual struggles within the institution. As Diana continued to assert her independence, her relationship with the media became both a tool and a burden. On the one hand, she used her platform to draw attention to causes she cared about, ensuring that her message reached a global audience. On the other hand, the unrelenting scrutiny of the press made her life increasingly difficult. Paparazzi followed her every move, turning even mundane outings into tabloid fodder. Diana often expressed frustration with this intrusion, confiding in friends that she felt trapped by the constant attention. These challenges were compounded by her evolving personal life. After her divorce from Charles was finalized in 1996, Diana began to explore relationships outside the royal sphere. Her romance with Dodi Fayed in 1997 attracted significant media interest, adding another layer of complexity to her already scrutinized existence. While some saw her relationship with Dodi as a sign of her moving forward, others speculated about the implications it might have for the royal family's image. Diana's growing independence and personal choices continued to highlight the tensions between her and the institution she had once been a part of. Despite these challenges, Diana remained steadfast in her commitment to her sons. She worked to provide William and Harry with experiences that balanced their royal obligations with a sense of normalcy. Trips to amusement parks, visits to homeless shelters, and even meals at fast food restaurants were part of Diana's effort to show her sons a world beyond palace walls. Her influence on them was profound, shaping their views on compassion, service, and the importance of connecting with people on a human level. As 1997 unfolded, Diana seemed to be on the cusp of a new chapter in her life. Her humanitarian efforts continued to gain momentum, and her relationship with Dodi suggested the possibility of a future that diverged even further from royal expectations. Yet alongside these developments, a sense of unease lingered. Diana's fears for her safety, which she had expressed to close friends and confidants, added a chilling dimension to her story. She spoke of feeling watched, of being pursued, and even hinted at the possibility of a conspiracy. These fears, dismissed by some as paranoia, would later take on a haunting significance. The summer of 1997 saw Diana and Dodi traveling extensively, their every move documented by the press. The attention they received was both a testament to Diana's enduring allure and a reflection of the media's insatiable appetite for stories about her life. Speculatively, one might imagine Queen Elizabeth observing these developments with a mixture of resignation and concern, recognizing that the dynamics surrounding Diana had reached a level that even the monarchy could not control. The stage was being set for a tragedy that would shock the world and forever alter the legacy of the people's princess. Diana's journey, marked by triumphs, struggles, and an unwavering commitment to making a difference, was heading toward an untimely and devastating conclusion. The events of August 31, 1997, remain etched in the world's memory. Diana, Princess of Wales, and her companion, Dodi Fayed, were returning to his Paris apartment when their car crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. The tragedy, which unfolded in the early hours of the morning, left Diana gravely injured and ultimately claimed her life. The news spread with devastating speed, plunging the world into mourning and casting a long shadow over the royal family. The circumstances surrounding the crash were as chaotic as they were tragic. Reports confirmed that the car, a black Mercedes-Benz, had been speeding to evade paparazzi who were in pursuit. The vehicle's driver, Henry Paul, was later found to have a blood alcohol level well above the legal limit, raising questions about his fitness to drive that night. Adding to the intrigue was the mysterious presence of a white Fiat Uno, which witnesses claimed had been involved in the crash but was never conclusively identified. Diana's injuries, while initially survivable, proved fatal as the hours unfolded. Paramedics arrived quickly but chose to treat her at the scene before transporting her to a hospital, a decision that has since been the subject of scrutiny. She was pronounced dead at 4 a.m., leaving the world reeling from the loss of the beloved people's princess. The public outpouring of grief was immediate and overwhelming, with tributes flooding in from every corner of the globe. As the dust settled, questions and speculation began to arise. The official investigation, led by French authorities and later supplemented by the British Operation Paget, attributed the crash to a combination of reckless driving by Henry Paul and the aggressive pursuit by paparazzi. Yet these explanations did little to quell the rumors. Conspiracy theories proliferated, ranging from allegations of foul play orchestrated by powerful entities to claims that Diana herself had expressed fears about her safety in the months leading up to her death. Diana's handwritten note, famously known as the Mishkan Note, added fuel to the fire. In the note, she confided fears of a plot to harm her, speculating that her death might come in the form of a staged car accident. The revelation of this note years later only deepened public suspicion, with many wondering whether Diana's premonitions were grounded in genuine threats. While the royal family publicly mourned her passing, their perceived stoicism during the immediate aftermath led to criticism from a grieving public. The Queen, in particular, became the focal point of this criticism. Her decision to remain at Balmoral with Prince William and Prince Harry in the days following Diana's death was seen by some as cold and detached. Yet, those close to the family suggested that the Queen's actions were guided by her desire to protect her grandsons from the media frenzy. It's conceivable that Queen Elizabeth struggled privately during this time, balancing her role as a grandmother with her responsibilities as a monarch. If she recorded her thoughts in her diary, they might have reflected a deep sense of sorrow coupled with the weight of public expectation. The Queen's eventual televised address to the nation on September 5, 1997, marked a significant moment in the aftermath of Diana's death. Standing against the backdrop of a mourning nation, the Queen paid tribute to Diana's exceptional and gifted nature, acknowledging her humanity and the profound impact she had on the world. This speech, though measured in its delivery, was a departure from the royal family's traditional reserve and demonstrated an effort to bridge the gap between the monarchy and the public during a time of immense grief. As Diana's funeral approached, the scale of public mourning became undeniable. Thousands lined the streets of London, leaving flowers, notes, and photographs outside Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace. The funeral, held on September 6, 1997, was a moment of collective heartbreak. The sight of William and Harry walking behind their mother's coffin, accompanied by their father, Prince Charles, and their grandfather, Prince Philip, remains one of the most poignant images of the event. It was a moment that laid bare the personal loss behind the public tragedy. While the funeral brought a degree of closure, the speculation surrounding Diana's death continued to grow in the years that followed. Operation Paget, launched by the British Metropolitan Police in 2004, sought to address the myriad conspiracy theories, examining over 175 claims related to the crash. The investigation ultimately reaffirmed the original findings of the French inquiry, concluding that the crash was an accident caused by a combination of factors, including Henri Paul's intoxication and the relentless pursuit by paparazzi. Despite these findings, unanswered questions lingered. The absence of CCTV footage from the tunnel, the role of the mysterious Fiat Uno, and the involvement of intelligence agencies were all points of contention for skeptics. For many, the notion that Diana's death was a tragic accident was too simple an explanation for such a monumental loss. Speculatively, one might imagine how Queen Elizabeth reflected on these theories and their implications for the monarchy. If her private writings during this time existed, they might reveal a monarch grappling with the dual challenges of personal grief and public scrutiny. The persistent rumors and their ability to capture the public's imagination underscored the deep connection people felt with Diana and the lingering sense of unfinished business surrounding her death. As the years passed, Diana's legacy only grew. Her humanitarian efforts, her advocacy for marginalized communities, and her role as a devoted mother became central to her enduring image. Prince William and Prince Harry have both spoken openly about their mother's influence on their lives, carrying forward her commitment to compassion and service. For the Queen, Diana's legacy likely represented both a source of pride and a reminder of the complexities that defined her relationship with the princess. The events surrounding Diana's death remain a profound chapter in modern royal history, marked by tragedy, speculation, and an enduring connection between the people's princess and those she touched. As the world continues to reflect on her life and legacy, the shadow of that fateful night in Paris lingers, a reminder of the fragility of life and the profound impact of one extraordinary woman. In the years following Diana's death, the royal family faced the monumental task of navigating a new world shaped by her legacy. The tragedy of her passing had exposed a monarchy that, while steeped in tradition, was struggling to connect with a modern public increasingly demanding transparency and emotional authenticity. For Queen Elizabeth, this period was one of reflection and adaptation. While she had always embodied the stoic virtues of duty and reserve, the lessons of Diana's life and death left an indelible mark on the institution she led. One of the most significant aspects of Diana's legacy was her profound influence on her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. As young boys, they had endured the unimaginable loss of their mother under the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Yet, as they grew into adulthood, it became clear that Diana's values had deeply shaped their approach to life and their roles within the royal family. Both princes have spoken openly about their mother's impact, emphasizing her compassion, her warmth, and her unwavering commitment to helping those in need. Prince William, now the Prince of Wales, has channeled much of his energy into causes that align with his mother's humanitarian spirit. His work on mental health awareness, through initiatives like the Heads Together campaign, reflects Diana's willingness to break taboos and address issues often left unspoken. Similarly, his efforts to combat homelessness and support conservation echo Diana's focus on creating tangible, lasting change in the lives of others. Prince Harry, too, has carried forward Diana's legacy in his own way. His founding of the Invictus Games, a competition for wounded and injured servicemen and women, is a testament to his belief in the power of resilience and community. Harry's decision to speak candidly about his mental health struggles and his experiences growing up in the royal family has further highlighted the enduring influence of Diana's openness and vulnerability. For the Queen, watching her grandsons embrace Diana's values may have been both a source of pride and a reminder of the challenges that defined their mother's life. Speculatively, if Queen Elizabeth reflected on this period in her diary, she might have noted the delicate balance between preserving the monarchy's traditions and allowing it to evolve in response to Diana's transformative legacy. Such reflections, while hypothetical, underscore the complexities of leading an institution in the wake of profound change. Diana's legacy extended far beyond her family. Her humanitarian work continued to inspire people around the world, influencing how public figures engage with social issues. The causes she championed, from AIDS awareness to the campaign against landmines, saw renewed focus and commitment in the years after her death. Her ability to connect with people on a deeply human level became a benchmark for empathy and authenticity, qualities that many public figures have since sought to emulate. The royal family, too, has made efforts to adapt in the years following Diana's passing. While the monarchy remains an institution rooted in tradition, there have been notable shifts toward greater openness and accessibility. Public engagements have become more personal, with members of the royal family increasingly emphasizing direct interaction with the people they serve. Speculatively, one might imagine Queen Elizabeth acknowledging these changes as a necessary response to the lessons Diana taught, both through her triumphs and her struggles. However, the shadow of Diana's death has never fully lifted. Speculation about the events of that fateful night in Paris persists, with conspiracy theories continuing to capture the public's imagination. The questions surrounding the absence of CCTV footage, the mysterious Fiat Uno, and Diana's own fears for her safety remain points of fascination for those unwilling to accept the official narrative. While multiple investigations have reaffirmed that her death was the result of a tragic accident, the lingering doubts reflect the deep connection people felt with Diana and the sense of loss that continues to resonate. For the Queen, these persistent rumors and their implications for the monarchy may have been a source of ongoing reflection. Hypothetically, her private writings could have grappled with the challenges of addressing such speculation while maintaining the dignity and integrity of the institution. The enduring fascination with Diana's life and death serves as both a testament to her impact and a reminder of the complexities of her relationship with the royal family. As time has passed, efforts to honor Diana's legacy have continued to evolve. In 2017, on the 20th anniversary of her death, Prince William and Prince Harry unveiled a statue of their mother in the sunken garden at Kensington Palace. The statue, surrounded by flowers and greenery, was designed to reflect Diana's warmth and her dedication to children and humanitarian causes. This tribute, while deeply personal, also served as a public acknowledgement of the enduring influence of the people's princess. For Queen Elizabeth, Diana's legacy may have represented a profound turning point in the monarchy's history. While their relationship was complex and often marked by tension, the lessons of Diana's life reshaped the royal family's approach to connecting with the public. Diana's ability to show vulnerability and authenticity, qualities that had long been at odds with the monarchy's traditional stoicism, ultimately became a model for how the royal family could remain relevant in a changing world. As the world reflects on Diana's legacy, it's clear that her impact extends far beyond her time. Her life, marked by compassion, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to making a difference, continues to inspire people across generations. For the royal family, her influence is a reminder of the power of humanity within the framework of tradition, an enduring testament to a princess who forever changed what it means to be royal. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come that far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.